Now on to the next question. Recently, we've seen issues in Peoria regarding race and inequality. Why are you the best choice to help correct these issues? Jim, let's start with you.
Sure. Being Hispanic, I certainly understand the challenges of many minorities. And one of the things that I worked on when I first got on the council was helping businesses, helping minority businesses, helping women-owned businesses, getting access to the contracts at City Hall. So I set up this program with working with others at City Hall where we could teach them how to do business with the city. Over the last 12 years, this has resulted in hundreds of thousands of dollars of contracts to women-owned and minority businesses. Certainly, I have also put on our city manager's goals is to make sure that when we are hiring, that we have diversity in mind and that we meet those goals. We want our city staff to look much like what our community looks like. So those are the two things that I would focus on.
And Dr. Ali, now to you. Why are you the best choice to help correct these issues?
Well, I'm the best choice because I've worked in this area for much of my adult life. I've been involved in diversity efforts through my work and through the community for over 22 years. I worked with the mayor and with the city, county chairman to create with other key stakeholders this Peoria City County Commission on Racial Justice and Equity. It will engage over 160 people focusing on 8 different areas to address disparities based upon race in our area. It will allow us to be proactive in addressing issues of race and disparity. We've always been, reactive when things happen, and now we're going to be proactive in engaging the citizens and using data to drive change. We have to have an equity focus. And, I've worked for the past 17 years as Vice President of Workforce and Diversity at Illinois Central College, really the largest workforce development organization in the state is the community college. So changing people's lives by addressing issues of equity is how we have to move forward.
Let's move on to the topic of our neighborhoods here in the city of Peoria. What would you do to make our legacy neighborhoods more appealing to new residents or to people moving to the outskirts of the communities and or neighboring communities? Rita, let's start with you.
Sure. Neighborhood organizations is where it's at, and I think we have to give them more tools to do what they need to do to be a stronger neighborhood association. The city has to work more closely with the neighborhood associations. There's some tools that's out there like Nextdoor, I think, that have been very useful in terms of neighbors communicating with one another. But at the same time, there's communities that have better tools. And if I go back again to the smart cities of Columbus, Ohio, they use many technology tools to protect their citizens, and they give technology tools to their neighborhood associations to better protect to better connect one another and protect their residents. We can be a little sister to, the fastest growing Midwest city and learn from what they do. I believe in adopting best practices that have been tried somewhere else. We don't have to recreate the wheel. Somebody's already done it.
And Jim, now to you. What would you do to make our legacy neighborhoods more appealing to people moving to the area?
Yeah, I had the experience of being a at-large city council member and got a chance to visit with many different neighborhoods and neighborhood associations. So I kind of took that when I became the 4th District City Councilman and focused on creating more neighborhood associations, more neighborhood watch groups. I created a monthly meeting to work with all the neighborhood associations in my district. At those meetings, we solved neighborhood issues, made neighborhoods safer, and I did this for 10 years. When you bring people together and you talk about these issues, that's how you get better. So I want to take this very same method of these monthly meetings, and I want to take them across the entire city to make sure that our city is having these types of meetings and this type of collaboration is happening, so every single person's voice is heard in our city.
And staying in the same realm as the last question, Jim, we're going to start with you for this one. What is more important for Peoria right now? Building new homes and commercial space, or rehabbing / better utilizing our existing homes and storefronts?
Well, that's a tough question. So certainly new development means more jobs for people. So I am in favor of this tax abatement that we got going on that has been brought forward by Councilman Kelly. But at the same time, rehabs, people taking care of their properties and making reinvestments, and we probably have a lot more of that can go on in our city, so that's a great thing. So we need to look for ways that we can encourage more redevelopment in our neighborhoods, and all of that means it's a really good thing that's going on for our city.
And Dr. Ali, now to you, what do you think is more important for Peoria right now? Building those new homes in commercial space, or kind of rehabbing our existing homes and storefronts?
So I think, Matt, that we have to do both. We have to, at the same time that we're building new quality homes, because in some places we have so many empty lots with no tax-paying buildings or homes on them. We need to fill those empty lots. But at the same time, we've got so many properties that have gone down. There's a part of our city where 50% of the homes in that area have not been maintained. So if that trend continues, what happens is you have roofs caving in, you have dilapidated housing, and then you have people moving to other areas of the city. When you can preserve that area, if you invest back into, rehabbing those homes. When I was young, I worked for the I worked for the Northside Action Council, and we had a lot of programs that we brought to the community. I worked very closely with well, he's now Senator David Kaler, but he was then the director of Northside Action Council. And we brought a lot of new hope and new opportunity to rehabbing homes in that area.
Dr. Ali, we're going to start this next question off with you. How do you change the perception that Peoria is not business friendly?
Well, you change the perception by changing the reality. We need to become more business friendly as a city. We need to look at our practices, our policies, and our procedures, and we need to listen to businesses and learn how we can be more business friendly in Peoria. In order to attract more businesses to the area, we have to have business friendly policies, practices, and procedures. We have to have business friendly people that are out there trying to attract, or out there, working and engaging with business people. So it's about a culture. It's really about changing the culture of our city in terms of how we do business, with our policies, with our people. Our people are our greatest asset. I believe that. I believe that we can attract new businesses to this area by having and building a qualified workforce. That's the area that I've worked in for a number of years. I bring that expertise and capability to the city.
And Jim, now to you, how do you change the perception that Peoria is not business friendly?
Yeah, and that's been something that's been discussed along the campaign way here. I've had some business leaders come up to me and tell me, how can I get involved? So what I'd like to do is create a committee that's going to focus specifically on this issue to make Peoria a business-friendly place. I think when we have the businesses who know that some of the struggles that they've had right here in Peoria and coming up with solutions for us, that's how we become better. I think as well, we need to make sure that we are focusing on pro-growth policies, and once again, it's programs like tax abatement, special service areas, and making sure that we have a community that's moving forward, making economic investments, and we as a city doing everything that we can to help with that advertising, a great message out there that brings people into Peoria.
Well, how would you work with neighboring communities to advance the metro area while also competing for new businesses and residents? Jim, let's start with you.
Yeah, so, working as a region isn't something new, and we know that that's part of it. When they do well across the river or the region, that means people more than likely will be shopping in Peoria. So we want to make sure that that we are working with them. We're happy for their success, and they need to be happy with our success. But together, all of us collaborating together to help bring in more business into the community. As they say, business breeds more business. So working regionally together is a great thing.
And Dr. Ali, what do you think? How would you work with neighboring communities to advance the metro area while also competing with them for new businesses and residents?
Sure. You know, I'm all about working together in collaboration as a region to draw opportunities to our area. We have to do that. We can't let relationships get in the way. We have to build relationships with our neighbors across the river. We have to build strong working relationships. Yet at the same time, we have to take care of home. And so what we've done in Peoria is we've left economic development for Peoria up to a regional development. We've basically gotten rid of the economic development department of the city of Peoria. When the director left, assistant city manager at the time left to go to work for Greater Peoria EDC, well, we were left without having our own economic development department and full staff. Peoria needs to get back, the city needs to get back in the business of economic development for the city of Peoria. We can't just leave it for a region. We do have to look out for ourselves, our city.
And let's take another comment from our Facebook page on WMBD. Barb wants to know if either of you have any plans to revitalize the riverfront. Dr. Ali, let's start with you.
Sure. I love our riverfront. I think it's one of our best features in our city, and so we want to have more businesses. So for a while we saw some growth, right? We saw some businesses starting to pick up there, and then over time we were having some budget issues, some of course, you know, what happened, you know, 4 years ago with CAT didn't help matters, but we've seen those businesses, many of those businesses leave. But we do have, you know, a growing warehouse district, and I'm very proud of that, and I want to see that grow. I want to see it flourish. So I think it brings great opportunity to attract more business. We have, you know, Riverfront Development Corporation. We have the distillery labs. We have some exciting development opportunities going on for entrepreneurship, for attracting new businesses. You know, we see the arts community is picking up more space within the mill. You know, so there's lots of opportunity to, you know, grow our riverfront, and I definitely want to do that.
And Jim, now to you, do you have any plans to revitalize the riverfront?
You know, I think as a city, the main things that we can focus on is the infrastructure, making the sidewalks, the curbs, the roads, fresh paint, landscaping, lighting. That's what city government should be involved with, to helping the area making that area look nice, and making sure that it is safe, making sure there's a police presence so people absolutely feel safe. Those are the makings of, I would say, good economic development that bring people into your community. As we mentioned earlier, there's been a lot of big investments made in the warehouse district and the OSF headquarters and their new call center. And now's that time. I know we're still under this pandemic, but as we start to come out of it, that's when we start making these investments, and I think everything will come right back up in that area.
And Jim, let's stick with you for this next question. If elected, how do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process?
Yeah, so one of the things that I mentioned earlier is I've had monthly meetings for 10 years. The first Thursday of the month, 7:30. In fact, there's one tomorrow if you'd like to come out to Peoria and see what these meetings are about. You bring people from all over your district or within an area, and you talk about what's going on in your neighborhoods. You talk about what's going on in the city. People cross-pollinate ideas and thoughts, and that's how we build a better community. So that's what I very much would be focusing on, taking these meetings across the entire city at least once a quarter. So we hear from people and we help solve their problems.
And Dr. Ali, now to you. How do you plan to involve residents in the decision-making process?
Absolutely. I want residents to help us to build a new vision for Peoria. I want residents to be at the table of a comprehensive strategic planning process that engage key stakeholders, including residents, organizations, employers, community-based organizations, faith-based organizations, bringing us all to the table to have voice in building our strategic plan. It won't happen in 3 days. I've seen that happen a couple years ago. You don't build a strategic plan in 3 days, but you do it over time, and you don't exclude, and you have to be transparent, and you have to be engaging. That's what I want to do. I want to bring the key stakeholders of Peoria together to build our a new strategic plan over a period of months that everybody has some ownership in. We make too many decisions without engaging the public, without involving them in a real meaningful way. So, you know, coming out with these plans, putting a stamp on it and say, this is our plan without engaging the citizens, no more. I don't want that. I won't have it.